Hi everybody, welcome back to the Greater Sydney Landcare webinar series. This is webinar number 4 and we'll be hearing about our Streamwatch program tonight. Our fantastic Streamwatch coordinator Jess will be telling us all about this educational, interactive, hands-on program that gets people out onto their local waterways to learn about and test the water quality throughout the Sydney region. I'll begin tonight by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands in Greater Sydney, their elders past and present. I acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the Greater Sydney region as the traditional land carers. I extend this respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who are joining us tonight. A bit of housekeeping for question and answer. There's a tab at the bottom of the screen that you can click on, type your questions in there, and we'll get to them after Jess is finished. And I'll hand over to her now. I hope you enjoy.
Thanks for that, Bronwyn, that amazing introduction. Hello, I'm Jessica Lee Lombroso and I am the Streamwatch coordinator for Sydney. And I have never been prouder to be able to offer you guys the Streamwatch program. We are alive and well, and I would also like to acknowledge the traditional elders of this country. I'm sitting on Darug, Gundungurra and Wiradjuri land up in the Blue Mountains, and all the streams that flow across Sydney. Streamwatch offers a space for community, schools, environmental networks, local councils, government, academics, businesses, and everyone that lives across the waterways to be able to test, observe, and monitor the health of the catchments. So, Streamwatch. Streamwatch started 30 years ago. We celebrated our 30th anniversary last year. It's a program that was designed to help look after our waterways. And in the early 1990s, Sue Lennox, who's pictured in the top right photo, piloted the program across schools in Sydney. It was developed across 15 schools from the Blue Mountains to the Illawarra to the Northern Beaches, and it continues to collect data to report on the health of our waterways. We have a principle of teach me and I'll forget. Tell me and I'll forget. Teach me and I'll remember. Involve me and I learn. This is an interactive, hands-on approach where communities learn about the health of their waterways. By actually collecting data on the water, people learn what the data means, what the numbers mean, what turbidity, dissolved oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, electrical conductivity, temperature, and oxygen, and how that affects the health of our riparian zone. The effect that it has not just on the riparian zone, but the aquatic life that lives within our creeks. We teach about aquatic ecosystems and how to care for it and how to alert authorities if there is a pollution and to ensure that our creeks are being monitored and the data is being collected for accountability across our catchments. So a riparian zone. A riparian zone is a riverbank, and we need healthy riparian zones. In this picture, this is one of the healthiest riparian zones that I've seen because you can't actually see that there is a stream or a creek there, but there is. And the vegetation that lives along the creek bank is the riparian. It's a really important integral part of the ecosystem because it not only provides habitat for biodiversity, but it creates a buffer zone to reduce pollutants off urban impacts such as stormwater. So it reduces the amount of runoff, which in turn reduces the erosion and pollution in our waterways and reduces the effects of flooding, which causes long-term erosion and destruction of riparian zone. So the healthier intact vegetation is along the riverbank, the healthier the riverbank is. Trees provide food, protection and homes for many birds and animals, including endangered species such as the powerful owl that live in riparian zones. And the riparian zone is an interface between the land and a stream. They're really important, and Landcare and Greater Sydney Landcare have the ability to teach, educate and restore creek lines to make sure that our waterways are healthy. We have lots of activities in tree planting and weeding that can be integrated to the Streamwatch program to keep monitoring to ensure that our bushcare sites and our Streamwatch program are healthy. We're wanting volunteers to join our citizens science program across Sydney so that we can protect and preserve our waterways. We're encouraging upskilling and increasing ecological awareness in our aquatic biodiversities while connecting you to nature within your own community. It's easy to do, an all-inclusive program, and we'd benefit from having your input into monitoring and preserving our waterways across Sydney. We take investigation studies using a variety of assessments, including riparian conditions, surveying water bugs, testing water quality parameters, a visual habitat assessment, and litter surveys, contributing to a 30-year data set. We have legacy groups that have been collecting data for 30 years and new groups that have started within a year. We have high schools and community groups all participating in our Streamwatch program. We've started to implement new methods into our water quality monitoring so that it's not just the physical, chemical and biochemical parameters. We're looking at introducing a rapid appraisal of riparian conditions to do a survey of the vegetation along creek lines, looking at the condition of what our vegetation or our riparian habitat is. So we'll be doing lots of online training or hopefully face-to-face training if that's the thing next year, and training up our volunteers of a rapid appraisal of riparian condition assessments. We've also been introducing a new suite of testing apparatus to make our program more accessible for school children and younger community groups. So looking at testing probes to measure electrical conductivity, total dissolved solids and salinity in our waterways, and dissolved oxygen meters. We will still be keeping our traditional kit of a colorimeter, but this new kit takes away the toxic reagents, making it more accessible for younger kids and also more affordable for community groups to adopt. We have been doing training and assessment to ensure that we have the best skills available to provide to the community to upskill and to teach community groups what indicates a healthy waterway. So we've joined forces with Waterwatch New South Wales as part of the larger Waterwatch program, and we will be continuing to update our suite of testing parameters. So Landcare values and resources are available to landholders, councils and environmental networks as we provide knowledge and skills to educate landholders that are eager to learn, boosting confidence and involvement. And we want to connect local communities and broader environmental groups to the conservation networking field. So citizen science use Streamwatch to test waterway sampling and record for water quality data and pollution events if anything's outside of the Australian water quality guidelines, we can then inform councils, EPA, and if in need, hazmat, to respond very fast and take action. There's been some amazing stories throughout time through all of our groups working together to make sure that the health of our waterways across Sydney are accounted for and that people are taking action together to ensure the long-term health of our creeks. We have environmental networks and businesses working together with schools to roll out a suite of education and skills. We test for water bugs as macroinvertebrates assess long-term water quality trends. And we're working together to document what water bugs are in what creeks, indicating the health and long-term data. Greater Sydney Landcare Network and Streamwatch are migrating the database. We have been using the Australian Museum database for the last 12 years. However, joining the Waterwatch New South Wales program and making our data coherent, we will be migrating the database to the BioCollect, the Atlas of Living Australia. We've set up a platform for Greater Sydney Landcare Network to start surveying and logging our data, and the new database will come with an app to make it more accessible to record our data out in the field.
Environmental data in the field, managing it in a database can be challenging and time-consuming. A tool from the Atlas of Living Australia takes the handling and sharing data. It can be used on your computer or mobile device and allows you to create your own data collection project specifically for your needs. The data you collect can then be made publicly available through the Atlas of Living Australia's website. Using BioCollect, you decide what data you'd like to collect, when to share it, and who can edit it. Or manage it. And support materials to help people use your survey or identify things. You can limit access to project team members or open it up for the public to contribute. It also has an integrated blogging tool to keep your community up to date. We support open data licenses and you can control the public visibility of your data. BioCollect uses international biodiversity data standards, allowing data to flow easily from capture through to analysis and sharing. BioCollect is a product of the Atlas of Living Australia and supports biodiversity research, environmental monitoring, conservation planning and management, education, and citizen science. Many people across Australia are using BioCollect to manage their biodiversity data, including researchers, state, territory and local governments, community groups and environmental consultants. Project or learn more about BioCollect, visit our website biocollect.ala.org.au.
Sorry, Jess, could you just quickly summarize that video? It was a little bit hard to hear for some people.
Okay, so the video was on the data collection tool that will be supporting Streamwatch. This will be a platform that will be able to verify the data once it's collected, making it easier and more accessible for our volunteers to upload out in the field. You can still use data sheets and field sheets that we have been using, but if you choose to want to use the app to upload the data straight away, we will be providing a platform on the Australian Atlas of Living Australia for for survey points for all our groups across Sydney. So each Streamwatch group will have its own Atlas of Living Australia surveying point, and the data sets that we collect will be then uploaded to this new data platform, which the Waterwatch groups across Australia use as well, making our data more coherent and in the same spot for end result users. Did that explain it a bit more, Kira?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
And if anyone wants to watch that video again in their own time, it is linked to our Facebook page, and I can make it available on the website. But it was just an introduction to show that what we're doing in the future with Streamwatch and how Streamwatch is being supported by Greater Sydney Landcare Network and the Atlas of Living Australia in conjunction with Waterwatch New South Wales. So I have done training workshops. Oops. Just trying to get to the next page. With a few of our groups already, we're going to try and make it easier and have it all set up so that when we are ready to migrate the database from the Australian Museum to the Australian Living Atlas, there will be platforms listed from survey dates, site names, locations, and Google Map pins. This is me with one of our group members, Danielle Packer from Chen, and we've been uploading the data they've been collecting in the last year from Cat Creek, who has just recently discovered they have platypus, which is so exciting, and another reason to make sure that our creeks are monitored for the health of our amazing animals across Sydney. Another way Streamwatch has been working within the community to join our network is we've been collaborating with councils, landholders across Greater Sydney network to improve healthy waterways and promote education, connecting communities into nature and incorporating environmental networks to roll out our education and testing citizen science program. We have been trialling data with Hornsby Council, monitoring with Blue Mountain City Council on remote areas that have been affected by the impact of the 2019-2020 bushfires, and watching the recovery of our waterways and health in the streams after the fires. We've been providing information and training to boost community capacity and resilience and involvement in this program. And I've been working across with researchers across Sydney, universities and academics to write reports and management recommendations based on Streamwatch data that's being collected, proving our program is essential and very much appreciated by the broader community. As Streamwatch provides resources to motivate local people to be eyes and ears on the ground and collect data that councils and researchers may not be able to collect themselves as much as what our volunteers do. So we engage with communities to conserve our catchments while collecting a baseline water data, providing information to decision makers for the broader community. We provide equipment and training for communities to achieve success and maintain river health, making sure that our training is up to scratch and our equipment is calibrated, ensuring that we're collecting the right data. We've also joined alliances, and our volunteers are part of bigger programs such as the Hawkesbury Nepean Riverkeeper Network, the Georges Riverkeeper Network, the Parramatta Riverkeeper, and the Cooks's River Alliance. Having volunteers within each catchment to help each riverkeeper unites the streams and the rivers across Sydney to be able to connect more community-based with researchers, with local governments, with community groups to strengthen our program and produce water quality data as an open source public platform. So using communities, schools, businesses, researchers, river keepers and land carers all together to make sure that we always have public accountability of the health of our waterways. I think is really, really important. We've partnered up with Waterwatch New South Wales, CHEN, Greater Sydney Landcare Network, Landcare New South Wales, Hawkesbury Nepean Landcare, Cat-Eye Hills Environmental Group, Hawkesbury Environmental Network, Local Land Services, Western Sydney University, Australian Association of Environmental Education, the Waterkeepers Alliances and Sydney Olympic Park to help roll out our program across Sydney to make sure that it does splash back into streams across Sydney. These are only just a few of our partners, and if there are environmental networks out there that are wanting to adopt our program, please get in contact. And I also know that there are a lot more environmental networks that aren't mentioned on this page, such as the Cumberland Land Conveyancy Group, Mulgoa Landcare, Conservation Australia's, the Oatley Flora and Fauna Group, and the list goes on for a lot of the schools and environmental networks through over the last 30 years has contributed to the Streamwatch program. So I will update this page and all of our sponsors, but they were just a few key. So the Hawkesbury Nepean Riverkeeper Alliance is something that Streamwatch and Greater Sydney Landcare has helped to establish. And our key actions is to create a Friends of the Alliance network, to build our network and to advocate the education and awareness of the Hawkesbury Nepean River. We're aiming to work on creating a river health report card that combines scientific, social and cultural data for the small stretch of the Hawkesbury Nepean River. We have been very busy collecting data and hosting hands-on community citizen science training days, which is funded by Streamwatch, Landcare New South Wales partnership for the Local Streams, Local Communities project. It's included a suite of microplastic counts and rapid riparian health assessments to collect data for our report card. We also want to develop further partnerships and support initiatives to ensure the long-term sustainability of the Hawkesbury Nepean River Association. We have had a few forums, and if this is something you guys, anyone out there would like to be involved in this project, please get in contact and we can let you know what training days we have coming up and how you can help to be a voice for the Hawkesbury Nepean River. Our last microplastic event was quite successful. We had the community come out for the day before the COVID lockdown happened, which was great. And we were able to collect sediment samples to use the data as a hopefully ongoing initiative through Western Sydney University to collect data on microplastics for the indication of the health of the river. Dr. Michelle Ryan has found traces of platypus in the Hawkesbury Nepean River, which is so exciting, but there's still many questions that we don't know, like how emerging pollutants affect the habitat of platypus and work its way through the food chain, which is what researchers are aiming to ask. And using citizen science, which is such a fundamental aspect of conservation, most researchers would not take place if it were not for community support. Holding community days is a great way to develop a sense of pride in the community that look after their environment, which in turn helps to carry the legacy of research and the amazing work that everyone does to ensure that our ecosystem, our freshwater ecosystem, stays within good health. We have more training days coming up in rapid riparian assessment conditions, workshops, which hopefully we will be able to host face-to-face in the next coming year. The Hawkesbury Nepean River want help to improve our need conservation champions. So if this is something that you are wanting to get involved with, please do contact me and we can inform you of upcoming events, because Streamwatch supports our volunteers and we want more Waterwatch volunteers to be a part of our program to ensure that the legacy of Streamwatch continues for another 30 years. We provide water quality monitoring kits available for long-term loans. We provide monitoring manuals, including selections on habitat surveys, biological surveys, physical and chemical tests. We provide fundraising advice for groups who need to raise money for purchasing of monitoring equipment. We have invitations to attend Landcare events, information on the health of your waterways, provide an opportunity for others who are interested in protecting and improving the health of our waterways, and training opportunities and field experiences. So we'd like you, if you are not already a member of Greater Sydney Landcare Network, to go over to our website and become a member of Greater Sydney Landcare Network. And that way you can keep up to date, subscribe to our newsletters, and learn about the incredible events and activities that we're hosting to ensure that we have health, that our creeks are being monitored. So without our volunteers, our program would not run.
All right, Jess, we've got a couple of questions for you.
Yay!
Kathy's asked, how easy is it to get the new instruments calibrated?
So the new instruments come with its self-calibrating standards, much the same as our electrical conductivity meter. I do have them. Do you want me to show you them quickly?
Yeah, if you've got them handy.
Yeah, I should have set that up beforehand. Okay, so I'm not sure who asked the question and whether they're already a member of Streamwatch, but these are the old electrical conductivity meters that we've been using that has an electrical conductivity calibrating solution that you use each time before you go into the field. Our new probes are much the same, where they will be provided with a standard solution to make sure that it's calibrated each time you collect the data. So in answer to your question, it's probably a lot easier to calibrate these probes as opposed to our old colorimeters, which will still be available for use.
Excellent, thank you. Lynn's asked, she has the original orange box and folder kit, then the black equipment case that has replaced it. What are the resources available nowadays?
Who is that question from?
Lynn Milson.
Lynn Milson. Can you ask Lynn what group she belongs to? Because I should have explained that Streamwatch started off with Sydney Water and then migrated to the Australian Museum and has been handed over to Landcare, Greater Sydney Landcare Network, where it's found its home. And the Australian Museum wouldn't release its members due to privacy. So we do have a membership list, but there are a few long-term groups that fell through the cracks that we're trying to reunite with, to let them know that Streamwatch is still alive and very much so monitoring. So the resources that are available are restocking the reagents and providing quality assurance to make sure that the data that's being collected by the apparatus is within range. We hosted a quality assurance workshop this year before COVID, but was aware that not all our members were contacted due to the privacy that we may not have everyone's members and everyone's groups contacted. So we do want groups to connect. Please send me an email at Streamwatch at Greater Sydney Landcare Network, or jessica.lombroso at Greater Sydney Landcare Network. You'll find my contact details on the Greater Sydney Landcare Network, and I can be in contact to restock your kit and make sure that you're uploading the data onto the Australian Living Atlas, the Atlas of Living Australia.
Perfect. Lynn said her school hasn't migrated from the museum to Landcare group as yet. So Lynn, and I believe Kathy as well, who asked the previous question, we can probably try and get Jess's details to you to update you on all of those.
What school are they from?
I didn't say which school, sorry.
Okay, but I'll be in contact.
Perfect. All right. Lynn also asked, do the apps work on all devices? So smartphones, Androids, iPads, and because yes, students use a variety of devices for their citizen science.
They should do, but I'm not going to assume and say yes, because we should really try them out ourselves to make sure they are compatible. But hopefully they are.
I think it might depend as well on what update you've got, like the latest iOS update, for example, for iPads and stuff. Some of the older ones aren't as compatible with newer apps, but that's sort of a standard across there. Lynn said they're from Parkley Primary School.
Oh, yay. Okay. Well, it would be great to have you jump on board with Greater Sydney Landcare Network, and this is why we're hosting webinars and outreaching, because there are a lot of kits across Sydney that are still not being utilised that we'd love to bring back and splash back Streamwatch.
Perfect. So David and Bella from Dargary Swamp Care have asked, is there an agreement between GSL and Streamwatch and Blue Mountains Council to do any of the streams outside of their footprint, such as Horseshoe Falls at Hazelbrook, and also Kadumba River Katoomba came back with a poor rating in the water report from council. Is there a way that we can work together to restore it to good health?
Absolutely. I've been working very closely with Blue Mountains City Council. Jeffrey Smith used to be the Streamwatch coordinator in the early 1990s when it started, and he was the first person to write the Streamwatch manual, so he's very much so supportive in our program. We have been busy in securing long-term funding for our program before we expand new groups. So making sure that the platform is available for all our current groups before we open it up to new groups. So making sure that Streamwatch stays afloat, and then opening up the capacity for new groups in our program as funding arises. Jeffrey has been very kind and sponsored Lawson Streamwatch group and set up a new kit and Springwood High School to ensure that the program stays alive. But as funding develops, this is something we can discuss, and it would be great to see Horseshoe Falls reunited. I started off Streamwatch with David King, I'm trying to think how long ago, maybe 15 years ago, and we looked after Horseshoe Falls together and educated kids and communities and monitored it back in the Sydney Water Days. So that would be a great place to bring it back.
That sounds great and very hopeful. So Jasmine said it's always a delight to hear you speak. She's interested in the river report card that you're planning for the Hawkesbury Nepean River. What reach of the river will be reported on?
Great question, Jasmine. It's always really ambitious when you want to report river health, because, as you know, the stretch of the Hawkesbury Nepean is a huge part of it. So this is a pilot project, and we'll just be looking at Penrith Nepean, Hawkesbury Nepean, putting it in, I think, Yarramundi, Windsor Beach, and Richmond. Yarramundi, Windsor Beach, and Richmond are the 3 sections of river that we are going to report on. We'll be looking at microplastics, vegetation, cultural assessment, and flora and fauna from the community's perspective.
Perfect.
Which,
sorry.
I was going to say, which has kind of been on hold because of COVID. We were hoping to collect the data through the university's researchers, but with COVID hitting, we're not allowed out in the field as much.
Yeah, fair enough. So Jodie's asked, will you be doing any river report cards for the Hacking, Catchment or Warinara in southern Sydney in the Royal National Park?
Our long-term goal with Streamwatch would be to produce all report cards from the Streamwatch data that's collected. So permitting that we have long-term funding, which we're chasing, that's what we're hoping to achieve. So the more funding, the more groups, the more we're able to report.
Perfect. And then to finish up a good news story, one of our listeners at DT, she used to go to Parklea Public School, and she's glad to see that Streamwatch is still going there because it's influenced her career, and she's now a stormwater project officer.
Oh,
so that's great.
That's so good. Streamwatch influenced me very much so when I was in schools growing up, and I really feel that Streamwatch needs to return back to schools in order to inspire the next generation of conservation champions. And it's an amazing platform to educate and empower our community. So it's so good to hear that story.
Excellent. And then one last question. Jodie's asked, where will the report cards be published?
Ooh, so I don't know if I'm completely allowed to say this, but I guess I am, because Sydney Water announced it on their Facebook page that the Hawkesbury Nepean Riverkeeper Network was successful in its first grant application to develop a platform to report on. So watch this space, and in the next year, hopefully we'll be producing a Hawkesbury Nepean Riverkeeper Network platform to then make our data public. Also, all Streamwatch data is available through the SEED database. Once it's verified by the Australian Living Atlas or the ALA, then it is migrated into the SEED, which is accessible for public. So it's not a report card, but it is the raw data, and we're hoping to use our raw data to produce report cards within our Riverkeeper networks.
Perfect, sounds good. Other than that, it doesn't seem like we have any more questions, but quite a lot of comments on having such a great presentation. So thanks, Jess. I'll pass you back over to Bron.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jess. That was a great presentation. Thanks everybody for joining us. As Jess said, if you want any more information about Streamwatch or any other of the Greater Sydney Landcare programs, you can jump on our website. It's greatersydneylandcare.org. We've also got another webinar coming up next week by some researchers at the University of Wollongong. They'll be talking about their really significant research about how tree canopies can reduce our risk of mental health issues. So you can join us for that too. Again, thanks and have a good evening. See you later.